ready for some football. I don't know about you. Who else could it be but your man Louie? Yeah.
The Louie T Network is powered by MusicHead University. MusicHeads, classes in session. Turn me up. Enroll on YouTube now. Link is in the description.
For me, your man, Louie T, welcome to Divisional Round Overtime. Doubleheader. Going to talk about both of the games that we saw take place today to wrap up the divisional round. Now the championship weekend is set, or championship Sunday, rather, is set. We know the 4 participants left in the dance. Eagles took care of business against the Rams in the first game of the day to set the stage for an all NFC East NFC Championship game as the Eagles take care of the Rams 28-22 in a very entertaining contest. And not to be upset or upstaged, the AFC Divisional Round capper was fantastic. Just exactly the way we thought it would go. I got the wrong score here. Let me fix that real quick. I was moving so fast at the end of the game. So let me get that cleaned up real fast. But came down to a 2-point conversion, and unfortunately for Baltimore, they could not get it done. They had 2 cracks at the 2-point conversions in this game. And, you know, my wife asked a great question on the first one, because if you recall that possession in particular, they ran it down Buffalo's throat. I mean, the Bills had absolutely zero answer for the run on that possession, and it didn't matter who it was. It was Justice Hill. It was Derrick Henry. They couldn't stop the run. And my wife says to me, why didn't they just run the ball? Like, why'd they throw that? Now, they had an open receiver, and Matt Milano made a great play to tip the football. But I think that's a fair question to ask, you know, why go away from what's working? And, you know, oftentimes when you're watching these games in the NFL, you see coordinators get a little cute, right? They go away from what's working. They go away from what's been effective. And, you know, they outsmart themselves. They overthink situations. And I think that was one of those instances where I really, truly believe they may have overthought it. But then they come back. They get a second crack at it with the second 2-point conversion opportunity. And Mark Andrews is open. And Lamar, you know, I think he kind of pulled the string on it a little bit. You know, you in that situation, you kind of, you know, find yourself trying to be a little too fine. But that ball was fine. That needs to be caught. It wasn't the best ball there, but it was absolutely a catchable football that has to be caught, that should have tied this game up. Now, I'm going to tell you what my first thought was, and then we'll go back to the Eagles-Rams after we, you know, kind of talk about this Bills-Ravens game and the freshness, because this one just happened. So you want to kind of tackle it while it's here and present. The first thing in my mind when Lamar took him down the field and they scored the touchdown, and let me say this first, too. That was the absolute right decision by Sean McDermott to kick that field goal. You have to go up 8 there. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You have to take the points there. This isn't one of those situations where being aggressive is the right thing to do. You have to put yourself in a position where there is no way you can lose this game in regulation, right? There is no way you can lose the game. Now, had they been up 3 and a field goal would have put you up 6, then you go for it, right? Because 6, you can still get beat, right? You know, even 7, even if you were up 4 with a chance to go up 7, I probably would have still gone for the touchdown, because knowing John Harbaugh and his aggressive nature, he's going to go for the 2-point conversion and the win more likely than not. So, you know, you want to go for the dagger there, right? But being up 5, which they were, and knowing that 5 at that field goal puts you up 8, there's no way you can lose in regulation unless you absolutely fall apart at the seams with the final. I think at that point it was maybe 4 minutes left in the game. maybe a little bit less than that. Unless you fall apart at the seams, there's no way you're losing this game in regulation. Worst case scenario, you're going to overtime, tied at 25 or 27, excuse me. So that was the absolute right decision to kick the field goal. And when Lamar took him down the field, and it was a beautiful touchdown pass. First of all, the big third down scramble and throw to I don't know if that was a third down. I don't think it was a third down actually, but the scramble and the throw to Tylan Wallace was fantastic. And then the touchdown throw to Isaiah Likely, where he had 15 seconds to throw, was amazing. And then to have that pass dropped, I just remember when they scored the touchdown, I thought they were going to get the 2-point conversion. They should have, obviously, gotten it. I said, you left too much time. Josh Allen is going down the field. They're going to get a field goal, and you're going to lose this game. That was the first thing that entered my mind. They scored too fast, right? When you're in that late game situation, there's no such thing as scoring too fast if you're the offense. You're just trying to get in the end zone. Would you like to score that, in that situation with a lot less time? Sure. But you can't dictate, like, this isn't a situation where you're having a chance to kick a walk-off field goal where you can dictate till the very end, hey, this is when we're going to do it. When you need a touchdown, you got to get it whenever you can get it, right? Whenever that opportunity presents itself, you have to take it. So they took the touchdown, and I'm like, man, it's over a minute left, and the Bills still have 2 timeouts. Trust me. Josh Allen is putting them in the field goal range. They're going to win this game with a field goal, but it never got to that because Andrews dropped the football, and that's a heartbreaking way for Lamar Jackson to lose that game. But what we've talked about continues to ring true in the postseason, and it's the team that doesn't beat themselves that usually wins the game. It's not always the team that performs the best or is the best on paper. It's the team that makes the least amount of mistakes. And sometimes you just got to move out of the way and let a team self-destruct and beat themselves. And what we saw this weekend was teams self-destructing. Now, with help, all of the teams we saw this weekend win and advance were good football teams. But there were a lot of mistakes made by the losing teams in every game. Think about the Texans game with the Chiefs, how many mistakes they made on special teams with the 2 missed kicks, the big return given up to start the game, the missed extra, the blocked field goal at the end. That's 10 points. I mean, that's 3 field goals, 2 missed, 1 blocked, and the field goal that the Chiefs got on the kickoff return. And I think there was 1 more blunder on the part of the Texans in that game that led to them losing that game, right? Like, all of these mistakes hurt them when it was all said and done. You look at the game, that nightcap on Saturday night with the Commanders and the Lions. The Lions turned it over 5 times. They had a critical 12 men on the field on a 4th and 2 that gave the Commanders a first down. They self-destructed in the most important game of the season. You look at the first game today, the Rams had 2 critical turnovers in a game decided by 6 points. They had 2 fumbles that led to 2 Eagles field goals. If you can do the math, 3 times 2 is 6 in a game decided by 6 points. That was the difference in the ball game. You look at this game here, with all of the mistakes the Ravens made, they had 3 turnovers in this game. Did the Baltimore Ravens, 2 of them leading directly to Bills' points. They lose the game by 2. You cannot make the mistakes that teams have made and expect to win this time of the year, because you're not playing the Tennessee Titans. You're not playing the Jacksonville Jaguars. You're not playing the Vegas Raiders or the New York Giants. You can't get away with making mistakes and expect to win when you're playing good football teams. And that's all you're going to run into this time of year. And so that drop by Mark Andrews was symptomatic of what the Ravens did in that game with the 3 turnovers. You cannot beat yourself in the manner that they did in this game. Andrews had a miserable game, had the fumble, then the drop at the end. Lamar had a terrible fumble that was scooped up and run back by the Bills and deep into Ravens territory by Von Miller. And then Lamar had an ill-advised interception. It almost acted as if as a punt, but it was just unbecoming of Lamar, something that we haven't seen him really do. The man only has thrown 4 interceptions this season. So to see him do that was a bit odd. So it's the turnovers, it's the mistakes, it's the mental errors that get you beat this time of the year. You got to credit Buffalo for taking advantage of that. But it wasn't a great game. And I'm going to say this, Buffalo did everything in their power to win this game without making a mistake. It felt like they were playing sort of close to the vest. They had a chance for the knockout blow there with the touchdown, and I thought they got a little cute with the play selection. They just should have gone to the little tush push that they do with Josh Allen twice, and they probably would have gotten in. They tried to go with a gun run, and he got stuffed, and they had to settle for the field goal. So, I mean, but you see how they're running their offense. Right now, they don't have any true playmakers, do the Bills, right? If it isn't Josh Allen, if it isn't James Cook right now, it's pretty limited, it feels like. And it's all on the shoulders of Josh Allen. He was able to get it done today, but I don't know if this type of offense that we saw today from Buffalo will be enough next week against a Chiefs defense that they have played before this season, that they did have success against, but that was at home. That was a different Chiefs team. The Chiefs are a lot healthier now. They're a different group. And, you know, it's playoff Chiefs, different level than regular season Chiefs. And they've been the arch nemesis of this Buffalo Bills team. This is the second time Josh Allen has been to the AFC Championship game in his career. The first time it ended in Arrowhead. So a lot of his seasons have ended at the hands of the Chiefs. I think 4 out of his 5 trips to the postseason have ended, or 6. I think he's been to the postseason 6 times in his career, if I'm not mistaken. The first one was a loss to Houston. And after that, I think all of his losses, sans for one, have come at the hands of Mahomes. You had the 13-second game. Yet the first AFC Championship game he went to, that was a pretty easy win for Kansas City. Then you had the heartbreak in the divisional round in the 13-second game. Then you had the Chiefs going to Buffalo last year and beating them, and now you have this year. So obviously he lost to Joe Burrow and company at home a couple of years ago. So this is the opportunity, and I really felt like the winner of this game it was going to beat Kansas City and finally break through to the Super Bowl. I think he's going to have to play better than the performance we saw today, though. Like, throwing the football, they were very, I thought, conservative. A lot of quick screens, you know, a lot of hitches out to the receivers quickly. I mean, if you look at Allen's numbers in this game, very, very pedestrian numbers from a passing perspective, more of a manager using his legs in key critical spots. Somebody's going to have to step up, right? Somebody's going to have to step up. But it was enough to get it done here. But if this game had gotten tied and somehow managed to go to overtime, I really thought Allen was going to take them down the field and they were going to win it in regulation, even if they had gotten the 2-point conversion. But if that game somehow managed to make it to overtime, I think Baltimore was going to win that game. I really, truly do. Offensive firepower-wise, the Ravens are superior to the Bills. And if not for the mistakes made by Baltimore in this game, they win this game. I'm going to be honest with you. They were the better team today. Watching this game and the way it played out without the mistakes. But again, those mistakes are a part of the game. And, you know, the better team doesn't always win. I thought the Ravens were the better team, probably better equipped to go beat Kansas City in Arrowhead. And they just dropped the ball, literally and figuratively. They dropped the ball. And so they started to get it lathered up with Derrick Henry in the run game, and they kind of got away from it. And you just ask, but even when you say that, they had a fumble. It's not like they didn't stop running the ball. They turned it over again. And so you can't keep shooting yourself in the foot and expect to win on the road against an opponent like the Buffalo Bills. But there was a reason why this game was initially a pick 'em, and then, you know, towards the end of the week, it slightly went in the favor of the Ravens. Because I thought they were the better team in the game. But you can't make the mistakes that they made and expect to win. And so Lamar Jackson's postseason woes continue. The fumble was the most costly of all the turnovers I mean, we could talk about the Andrews fumble as they were, starting to really wrestle the momentum away from Buffalo at that juncture of the game. But Lamar's fumble was huge. It really ignited the crowd. It settled Buffalo down. Not that, they were reeling or anything, but they needed a spark at that time. And that fumble by Lamar really gave them some juice. And if I'm not mistaken, at that time of the fumble, I think the Ravens were either ahead or slightly trailing and had a chance to extend their lead. Now, Lamar was getting sacked on that play, so I think they were going to have to punt, if I'm not mistaken. But let's see. Yeah, it was tied at 7, right? And it gets scooped up and run down the field, and it turns into a touchdown for the Bills, and they go up 14-7. And I don't think they ever trailed in the game after that transpired. They never trailed. That sent them on a run, right? The Ravens scored the first points of the game, and similar to last week, Buffalo then rattled off 21 unanswered points in the game. They scored the next 21 of 24 points scored in the game. The Ravens added a field goal, but the Bills went up 21-10. And it really was keyed by that fumble by Lamar. That was a massive play in the game. Can't have that if you're Lamar Jackson. So too many mistakes made by the Ravens. Bills took advantage, make enough plays, two-point conversions spoiled. One great defensive play by the Bills, the other a miscue by the Ravens on a day where miscues seemed to be the flavor of the day for the Ravens. And the Bills are moving on to the AFC Championship to see if they can exercise some demons. I'm going to tell you right now, everything about this season feels like 1991 for the Commanders. And I think it's going to be Commanders-Bills, just like it was back in 1991 or January of 1992. And the Commanders are going to win the game just like they did back in January of 1992. So that's the vibe that I'm getting right now, because I really think that the Chiefs are going down. And I felt like the team that won, I felt like this with the two games, whoever won the Saturday night game and whoever won the Sunday night game, those were the two teams going to the Super Bowl. I felt really confident about that. And I felt like those were the two, teams that were going to come out of the respective conferences. And the Bills won and the Commanders won. And I think those two teams are going to be going to the Super Bowl. But obviously, both of these teams have to go on the road in hostile environments against really good teams, two of the best teams in football, and they're going to have to win. And this is what it's all about. Speaking of which, in the first game of the day, Eagles topped the Rams 28-22. I talked about mistakes. Again, can't win in the postseason making mistakes, and absolutely mistakes were made by the Rams. But you got to credit the Philadelphia Eagles. They stuck true to who they are. They ran for over 300 yards in this game. Saquon Barkley goes bananas on the Rams for the second time this season. Over 200 yards rushing for Saquon, 205 if I'm not mistaken. Jalen Hurts poured in an additional 70 yards on the ground. They were fantastic. Hurts did injure himself. This was a physical game. I enjoyed this game thoroughly because of the physical nature of it. These two teams were out hitting one another. And I'm going to be honest with you. I thought the Eagles were going to dominate this game because I didn't think the Rams could match their level of physicality. I was wrong. For the first 3 quarters, I thought the Rams were the more physical team. I actually thought they were taking it to the Philadelphia Eagles. One of the things I've noticed with Philadelphia here over the last month is their run defense has really suffered. It has regressed significantly. Going back to that Dallas game against the Rico Dowdle, who had 100 yards rushing. Teams have had success running the ball against them. Green Bay had success with Josh Jacobs last week. He had 81 yards on just 50 carries, so over 5 yards a pop. Today, Kyron Williams went over 100 yards. So in 2 of the last 3 games, the Eagles have played their starters, 200-yard rushers. And last week, Josh Jacobs had some success against them as well. So they're having trouble stopping the run. I thought the Rams were extremely physical with them. They were hitting guys. They lost their corner, Quinyon Mitchell, to an injury. Don't know the severity of that. Hope he's okay because he's a huge part of what they do defensively. But Hurts got banged up. Saquon got banged up a little bit. I mean, they were reeling there, but credit the Eagles for gutting it out. Guys playing through injuries. That's the time of year it is. You find a way to get it done. And I thought in the fourth quarter, when it mattered the most, the Eagles were the aggressors. They were the more physical team, and they showed why they were the better team. I thought it took them 3 quarters to wake up to show that they were the more physical team. They started being aggressive with Kyren Williams. I knew the fumble was coming. What did I tell y'all, right? I said Kyren Williams is going to fumble because the Eagles hunt the football aggressively, and he's a fumbling back. And sure enough, first play of the fourth quarter, didn't even take long. He's got another hole he's about to exploit, and Jalen Carter, who's one of the best defensive linemen at punching the football out, punches that puppy out, and it's recovered. And that was a big play in the game because the Eagles were reeling. They had just given up the safety. The Rams were on the move. They were only down 1 at that time, and that was a big sequence of events. They pick up the fumble. They get a field goal out of it. The next possession, Stafford fumbles. They turn that into another field goal, and just like that, you go from up 1 to up 7, and now, it's kind of this, slippery slope that you're going down, and Saquon rips off that big run, and I know Eagles fans thought that the game was over at that point. And as good as Jake Elliott was today, you got Jake Elliott problems with extra points in particular. He missed 2 extra points today. And if the Rams had gone down there and scored that touchdown, and I thought they made a critical error, we'll talk about that here in a second. But if they had gone down and scored that touchdown and made the extra point, Jake Elliott would have been the scapegoat. They would have wanted his head on a stick. So for as good as he was in those conditions, for him to knock those field goals down today was clutch. They needed every single one of them, obviously, but those extra points almost proved to be a death nail for them. But where I thought the game was lost at the end, and I told everybody who I was watching the game with, this game is not over. When Saquon ran that touchdown, it was roughly, just under 5 minutes, I believe. But the Rams still had all 3 of their timeouts. And they were able to get down there relatively quickly. Big catch by Puka Nacua. And I think that was the one on the last possession, not the one before that. But they were able to get down there, score. They got the stop. And I thought Jalen Hurts played well in this game. I know the numbers aren't going to wow you. He dealt with an injury, came back, was able to help his team. I thought he showed toughness. He showed grit. And he showed the ability to run the ball early when he was healthy. And I thought he could add a lot more passing yards if A.J. Brown catches that football. That's probably a touchdown, right? That's a dot, and A.J. Brown drops it. How about that inner excellence? How about some outer excellence instead, right? And then I thought he had another great ball. I thought that was a bogus call on Ahkello Witherspoon on the hit on Smitty. That's a dime from Jalen Hurts. But that's a great play to dislodge the ball. Was he supposed to let him catch the ball? No, you hit him and dislodge the football. I thought that was a BS call. This football, this playoff ball, let the boys play. But that was a good ball from him there as well. And when they needed him, I thought he made smart decisions with the football, except you can't get sacked 7 times, and you can't get sacked twice on 3rd downs when you're on the cusp of field goal range, taking you out of field goal range. Can't fumble the ball on one of those sacks. And at the end of the game, I know you want to keep the clock running. You cannot take a sack on 2nd and 7 and make it 3rd and 19 when you have a chance to end the game with 1 first down. You cannot take a sack there. So I thought there were some times where Jalen Hurts did not make smart plays and took some bad sacks, including the safety in the end zone. But at that time, he couldn't move. He had just come back from the knee injury, and he was like a deer caught in headlights. But I thought he played well. He managed the game. He does what Jalen Hurts does, right? He managed the game, put them in a position to win. And he did what he does best. He handed the ball off to Saquon Barkley, who is the true X factor every single week. This guy, it just doesn't matter. You can bottle him up, and then boom, all it takes is one carry, and it could be bye-bye, right? 70 yards, just like that. And that's the danger when you play the Eagles is all it takes is one, right? He gives them an element that they've lacked. They had good run games. They had guys. You're not afraid of Kenneth Gainwell breaking a 67-yard touchdown run. Yeah, Kenneth might get you for 24 yards, but he's not running for a touchdown. every time Saquon Barkley touches the ball in any capacity, it could go the distance. And that's the part that scares you. And the Rams just had trouble, stopping him. Too many drop passes by the Rams in this game, too many missed opportunities, and the 2 fumbles were just catastrophic. And I'm going to tell you what I thought the critical blow for them was when they were mounting that comeback. They had the Eagles on the ropes. They had Jalen Carter sucking wind, hands on hip, and they caught a pass. It went out of bounds. Instead of them going tempo, that's what got them down there. Tempo. The Eagles are tired. Tempo. Make the Eagles call a timeout on defense to get their guys to catch some wind. You gave them essentially a timeout by huddling up because the clock stopped, so you wanted to huddle up. No, tempo is what kicks the Eagles' ass. That's why they're going to struggle with the Commanders, because tempo is what's going to slow that pass rush down. Tempo is what's going to keep them on their toes. Tempo is what's going to keep them from being able to be as aggressive as they like to be. And they had them. And then they huddled up. And then Dotson had the false start coupled with the huddling up. So that gave them even more opportunity to catch their breath. And then you saw what Jalen Carter was able to do after that sequence of events. He sacked Stafford, and then he had the pressure on the 4th down to end the game. And so I thought if they would have just kept going with tempo, I think they would have found their way into the end zone. And I thought that was the critical error by the Rams down the stretch. But again, when you make the type of mistakes that the Rams made in the game, you're probably not going to come out on top. And they had every opportunity to win that game. It was there for the taking, and they couldn't seize the opportunity. And so it's an all NFC East championship game, and I'm looking forward to watching that one as well as the AFC Championship game. It's going to be 2 fantastic contests, and I think when it's all said and done, I've already seen, I think for the NFC game, like the cheapest ticket is $1,000 already. So we already see where this is going. Jaden Daniels is must-see TV. And he did it again. 33 million viewers on Saturday night. I already knew that's what it was going to be, right? I told you guys it was going to be over 30 million. This kid is electrifying. And he is the 6th rookie quarterback to make it to the championship game. He's only the 2nd rookie quarterback in NFL history to beat a number 1 seed, now joining Joe Flacco with that. But rookie quarterbacks don't make the Super Bowl. That's what they don't do. So now he's 60 minutes away from making history. And if he wins it, it's an all-time. It's already an all-timer, right? It's already an all-timer. But if he wins it, we're talking about into a different stratosphere, right? So big wins today by both the Bills and the Eagles. Both the home teams take care of business. And for the 2nd consecutive week, the Commanders are the only team to win on the road. They've been road warriors this entire time. They continue to be the only team to win in the postseason on the road. And so the championship Sunday is set. Commanders at Eagles at 3 o'clock on Fox. And at 6:45, you got the AFC Championship game between the Buffalo Bills and the Kansas City Chiefs. So the 2 and the 1 seed in the AFC and the 6 and the 2 seed in the NFC. So with that said, let's get to Inside the Odds, brought to you by BetUS. And then we'll get to the comment section after that. Let's do it.
Inside the Odds.
Looking for a new book? This season, BetUS has you covered. Fastest payouts in the industry. Get up to 10% back on your net losses. And twice a year, as long as you've been active within the last 6 months. And here's the kicker. If you've never used BetUS before, so you're a new user, use the promo code YouTube150 to get you a 150% sign-up bonus on your first deposit up to $2,000. And then you get an additional 125% sign-up bonus on your next 2 deposits up to $2,000 when you use the promo code YouTube150. Remember, bet responsibly. Don't bet more than you can afford to lose. And do not chase your losses. So look at a couple of things here, courtesy of BetUS. I told you they got a lot of great Super Bowl specials that you can bet on. This is a basic one here. And this was prior to the games kicking off. I got everything prior to the games kicking off on Saturday. And this was simply who's going to win Super Bowl 59, right? It's a pretty simple one. So obviously the Lions had the best odds. They're no longer available. The Chiefs had the second best odds at plus 350. Ravens had the next best odds at plus 450. They're no longer available. Bills at plus 550. Eagles had the third best odds at plus 425. Then the Ravens at plus 450. They're no longer available, as I said. Bills at plus 550. Rams were at plus 1,600. They're no longer available. And the Commanders were at plus 2,800. I hope you put down $100. And the Houston Texans were at plus 5,000. They're no longer available as well. So as you can see, Vegas has spoken, obviously, and the team with the longest odds to win the Super Bowl currently are the Commanders, rightfully so. They're the 6th seed. The team with the best odds remaining are the Kansas City Chiefs at plus 350. And these numbers may change now because we have condensed the pool from 8 to 4. So we'll check back in on some of these numbers next week. But this was something that I was really interested in. Who was going to have the most receiving yards in the divisional round this weekend? I was really fascinated by this. I wanted to see who would get it done. A lot of names on this list, obviously. And I'm going to ask you guys to see if you can get who had the most receiving yards in divisional round weekend. Anybody want to take a stab at it? As you can see, Puka Nacua and Nico Collins were your leaders in the clubhouse. Puka was at 400. Plus 400. Nico Collins at plus 450. Amon-Ra St. Brown was at plus 550. A.J. Brown was at plus 800. So was Terry McLaurin. Jameson Williams at plus 1,000. Travis Kelce, that's a great guess. Wonton Slim. Travis Kelce had 117 yards against the Houston Texans. I see St. Brown. I see Williams. I see Amon-Ra. See if anybody else wants to take a stab at it before I divulge. It was Amon-Ra St. Brown. He had 137 yards, I believe. 137, 138, something like that, against the Commanders. And he ended up being the high number man. So plus 550 was your winner for the weekend. And surprisingly, no other receivers outside of Amon-Ra St. Brown or and Travis Kelce went over 100 yards this weekend. It was all guys like hovering around 80, 90 yards, but nobody really cracked 100 other than Amon-Ra St. Brown and Travis Kelce. Puka Nacua, I think, was the next closest. He had like 96 yards against the Eagles, but it was interesting. I thought you'd see, one or two guys really have a crazy day. Nico looked like he had a chance, but it just wasn't consistent against the Kansas City Chiefs. So once again, all these numbers you see in front of you were pulled off of the BetUS site. Head over there, look at some of their prop bets. They got a prop builder so you can put together your own prop bets, put some money in your pocket, and take advantage of some of their bets. So let's get to the comment section and see what you guys have to say. If you're out there and you want your comment to be read, super chats are the best way to get that done. Jumps you straight to the front of the line, get your comment on the screen and reacted to. But if you are out there and you want your comment to be read, you can use the hashtag LouieTLive to have your comment read on the air and reacted to if it is pertinent and time permits. Can't guarantee you that we'll have enough time to get to your comment. So that's why super chatting is always the best method of getting it done. That said, let's get to the comment section and see what you guys have to say. We start with Relevant Jesse. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Thank you for my guy, Relevant Jesse writes, Washington versus Buffalo rematch. Yeah, I think I'm feeling it in my spirit. Like, that's what's in the cards. And it's crazy because that's what I said earlier. And I know you had already probably super chatted that, but that's what it's kind of feeling like, right? As you go through this thing, everything is kind of falling into place, and it's starting to turn into a very eerie feeling situation with the Commanders, because a lot of things are happening that haven't happened since 1991. That year we played the Lions in the playoffs to go to the Super Bowl. We played them in the championship game, just played them in the divisional round, beat them up pretty good in that game, beat them up pretty good in this game. And it just kind of feels, you know, Buffalo's on the other side of the bracket, and you're just like, man, this is feeling like 91 all over again. I swear it is. But anyway, I digress. The only thing is that game, if I'm not mistaken, was in Minnesota, right? It was in the Dome in Minnesota. This one's going to be in New Orleans. But yeah. Anyway, Big Money Sonny, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, Big Money Sonny, thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, Lou, let me get that full I Got 5 verse just one more time before next Sunday. Let's effing go. Yeah, I think I can give it to you one more time. I got 5 on it. Got a QB we can keep. I got 5 on it. There goes Terry running deep. I got 5 on it. He stay avoiding all those sacks. I got 5 on it. Don't you wish he was your quarterback? And they do. And they do. I'm seeing it all out there. Boy, they wish he was their quarterback. Hey, Cowboys fans right now are crashing out everywhere. Man, the wreckage is just so fun to watch, man. They are crashing and burning out right now, and I'm loving every second of it. Man, they are going through it bad. Them and Giants fans. But Giants fans are just sad, right? I feel bad for them because we've been there for a very long time. But I don't feel bad for Cowboys fans. I don't feel bad for Giants fans either. They're sad as much as I'm not even laughing at them. I am laughing hysterically at the Cowboys, knowing that we've already tied Dak Prescott in terms of our quarterback for the amount of wins in the postseason. And in 1 year, my guy's already done something that Dak Prescott couldn't do. Get to the NFC Championship game. It's comical. I love it. The great Watubi. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. The great Watubi writes, did you talk to LB about our manager's job back? Yeah, so I had a conversation with upper management. They weren't all that pleased with Philadelphia. For a little while there, they were a little upset with them. That Panthers game really rubbed them the wrong way. But you know, they've since bounced back in the upper management's eyes. They've done what they needed to do. They're where they're supposed to be. But they are really pleased with us and what we've done in the management trainee program. And we're quickly rising up in their eyes, and they love the work that we're doing. And they feel really good about what we've accomplished since being the understudy of the Eagles. And this game's going to really determine a lot. It's going to determine a lot. So we'll be talking about it next week, right? Big Money Sonny, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. We already read that one. So really appreciate you for doubling up. Big Money Sonny. Andy Hart, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Andy writes, damn, those Eagles gonna be hard next Sunday, but if my Redskins can beat the Lions, they can win it all. Bills, Redskins, Super Bowl. That's what it's feeling like. I'll tell you this. If there was going to be, like, the toughest matchup for us left on this side of the bracket is Philadelphia. Because of the familiarity, because it's a divisional opponent, because they're so good defensively, and they pose, you know, threats and challenges to us that other teams simply do not. We know the task at hand. But I can tell you right now that Quinyon Mitchell injury, and I don't know the severity of it, and I hope he's okay, and I hope he's able to play next week. But if he can't go, Isaiah Rodgers is food. I mean, and he didn't play poorly today by any stretch of the imagination, but he can't cover Terry McLaurin, right? So whoever he's covering, whether it's Terry or Diami, he's food. So there will be some things that we'll be able to take advantage of. And, we'll see, all of the different matchups inside of the game, right? Matchups inside of the matchup. But when it's all said and done, we know the challenges that lie ahead with Philadelphia. We know who we're dealing with, and now we just got to go out and execute. We just got to go out and take care of business. Last time he saw these boys, he put up 5 touchdown passes on them. And here's the thing. We're getting back to who we are, right? It was so refreshing to see the run game show up. Like, you can run on Philadelphia. And if now, the last time we saw them, we were struggling to run the football. And we were going through literally a running game crisis. We have restored our ability to run the football. Obviously, the loss of Sam Cosmi is huge going into this game, having to deal with Jalen Carter. But when it's all said and done, we should be able to run the ball on the Eagles because everybody else is doing it. And when you add in the element of Jaden Daniels, and they're going to be hyper sensitive to his legs because he killed them with his legs the last time. So they're going to overreact to his legs, I think, this time. And in doing that, it should open up massive passing windows. I'm talking about RPOs should be available. The quick game should be available. I really think he's going to be able to really slice and dice these boys. Stafford was able to do it. If dudes would just catch the football, there were opportunities today. Stafford went over 300 yards in the snow. So there were opportunities. Drop passes and things of that nature put them in a tough spot, but the opportunities are there. So it's gonna be a tough game, no doubt about it, but one that we definitely feel confident that we can go in there and win. Mr. Ron B, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, 2 words we didn't think we'd say this season: Championship Sunday. Streak breakers heading to Philly. You know what is so funny is I was sitting down watching the championship games today, taking it in, because when you've already clinched a spot in the championship game, or I was watching the divisional round games today, excuse me. When you've already punched your ticket to the championship game, it gives you a different perspective. And normally this time of the year, I'm watching these games and I always give y'all homework and say, hey, watch these games in championship weekend or the divisional round and see what other teams have that we don't have, that we need to go out and get. And I was just watching these games and I'm saying, ain't none of these teams' offense better than ours. Not the Ravens. Now, they were missing Zay Flowers. That's a huge part of their offense. So keep that in mind. But the Ravens' offense ain't as dynamic as ours. The Bills' offense ain't nearly as dynamic as ours. Eagles' offense ain't dynamic other than Saquon Barkley. And the Rams were struggling too. And I was just thinking to myself, and even going back to the day before, the Lions were the only team that could really rival us from a dynamic standpoint, a scoring the football standpoint, all of the above. And we outscored them in their building, beat them to a pulp, put up a 40-burg on them in their own building. And I'm just thinking to myself, man, we're so dynamic and we don't even have the pieces yet. It's just crazy. Watching the games and saying, man, we could use that and that and that. But even without it, look at us. Look at how hard we are to stop. We can't be stopped right now. We punted one time. Once. One time. In 2 playoff games. Both on the road. Without turning the ball over. Let that sink in. 1 punt. Philly Sports Talk 25-8. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, we gonna whoop you, LOL. And Cowboys fans are sad. Man, they are really sad right now. They crashing out, and I'm loving it. I'm loving every second of it. Hey, I am loving every second of it, man. They are going through it right now, and nothing makes me smile more than watching them suffer. Watching them suffer. The only thing that tops that is our success, but it's great. And we get a 2-for-1 special. We get to simultaneously make them feel like garbage for letting Dan Quinn leave, knowing that we got a better quarterback than them, win, go to the Super Bowl, and crush your hopes and dreams all in one fell swoop. Tomorrow will be, next Sunday will be a glorious day. Indeed. Indeed. Philly Sports Talk 25-8. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Who writes, get your bags packed. It's time to go. LOL. We are so ready. We are so ready for that trip up I-95. Just making a quick trip, quick business trip on Sunday. Go in, extract the dub, and come out of there and go home happy. That's the game plan. That's the execution. We killers over here. We killed the 1 seed. We killed the 3 seed. All that's left is to kill the 2 seed. Nobody on the corner got swagger like us. Nobody. Navy Ramjet. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate it. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Navy Ramjet writes, blessings, Lou. Likewise to you and yours, Navy Ramjet. Feel terrible for Kaz. Me too. I do too. I as well, man. That one, that's a devastating blow. I saw it. Did you see his post on IG? It was heartfelt, and I felt it. And I love the last sentence. Go win it all for me, fellas. That's exactly what we're gonna do. Like, as if we needed more motivation. Just gonna add a little bit more fuel to the fire now. We're doing it for, he always said, hey, I'm doing something for something that's bigger than myself, right? Now it's bigger than just winning it just because. We winning it for Sam. You know what I mean? Says, Carter is a key to stop. We know that going in. It's a key on both sides. So you got to block Carter and stop him from wrecking the game on defense. And on offense, you got to stop Saquon Barkley. You do those 2 things, you win the game. It's that simple, literally, when you play Philadelphia. It's that simple. Baby Vivi is 6-0. She just keeps knocking them down left and right, man. She is a blessing, indeed, and a good luck charm. 8 wins is a lock. World War III up first. Hashtag HTTR. Third one, man. The third one. Looking forward to it. Should be fun, man. Should be a lot of fun. Funny thing is, Eagles fans didn't think we was going to be there. They didn't think we was going to be there. And we were the ones waiting on them. Are y'all coming or what? Are you showing up or not? Car leaves in an hour. Are you coming or what? You riding? Nah. It was like, yeah, we coming, man. Hold on. Joel Sanders. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Joel writes, hi, Lou. If we don't turn the ball over, we will win. But I think it will be KC and Commanders. Like, until the Chiefs lose, they the champs. I just think they're not going to – I don't think they're going to three-peat. I mean, they could, obviously. But I think their run comes to an end this year. I do. And I felt that the winner of Bills Ravens was going to beat them. And I was hoping, like, to be swayed by Kansas City by seeing them come out and be a lot sharper after the bye, and I just didn't see that. I didn't see that. Offensively, they look exactly the same. They still struggle to run the football. The passing offense isn't cohesive. Mahomes is under duress. I mean, defensively they're good, but They can be had on the defensive side, and they got some injuries. I just think Buffalo can go in there and beat them. But if you're absolutely spot on. If we don't turn the ball over, if we just keep doing what we've been doing throughout this postseason run, we just play our game, they can't beat us. Christopher McLaughlin, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. My guy, Chris, writes, hey, Lou. Hope all is well with you and the family. Likewise, and once again, thank you for your tremendous generosity. Can't thank you enough. And hope you and the fam are doing excellent. Stat for you, Ravens 9-0 this season when Henry rushes for 90 yards or more, 3-6 when he doesn't. That's not a surprise to me. Didn't know what the record actually was, but you know, when how much did he? I think he fell short of that, didn't he? Tonight, I think he was at 81 or something like that. He ended up with 84. Yeah, and I thought they got away from him. He had that one drive in the third quarter when they were really starting to heat up, and they ran it down their throat. I thought he needed more opportunities to touch the football. But two questions. What happened to the Ravens running Henry today and why? And two, what is Lamar Jackson's legacy if he doesn't win a Super Bowl? If Lamar Jackson doesn't win a Super Bowl, he'll be looked at like Michael Vick. Transcendent player in the same vein of Michael Vick and a Cam Newton, but at least Cam Newton went to a Super Bowl and won league MVP, right? Lamar has won league MVP. He may win it again this year. He's been the best player in football. We know that the talent is undeniable, but you have to validate everything by winning it all. And look, he's still young. He's got plenty of time, but you can't take these opportunities for granted. You can't just assume, oh, well, the Ravens will be good every year, because there have been seasons where Lamar didn't finish the season, right? And so you just don't know in this league. So you have to take advantage of the opportunity when it presents itself. And yet again, it's another wasted opportunity in season for Lamar. And again, when it mattered most, in the biggest games, he made mistakes that you cannot make. The interception didn't really cost them. No points were had off of that. Like I said, it was like a long punt. But the fumble was the one, right? Like, that was careless. It was reckless. It was unnecessary. That wasn't a forced fumble. He was reckless with the football, and he dropped it, and it slipped out of his hand. And you just cannot have that happen. And that turned into a touchdown, and it really opened the floodgates. You know, that was a 7-7 ball game, and they scored 14 unanswered points after he fumbled that football, including a touchdown directly because of that fumble. So, you know, he tried his best to help make up for it, but you know, and he can't throw the ball and catch it too, right? But you know how this goes. If you're the quarterback, when you win, you get all the credit. When you lose, you get all the blame. So this is charged to his account. Another postseason loss when the Ravens had a really strong team and were capable of winning the whole thing. So there's going to be a narrative, right or wrong, attached to Lamar Jackson. And the only way it's going to change is if he wins. And yet again, we got another loss on the resume. I don't know what his postseason record is, but it ain't good. I can tell you that much. It ain't good. He got a lot more losses than he does wins in the postseason. And I can tell you this, in most of those losses, his team was favored, meaning he had the better team. They were the better team in that game today. So that's the issue with Lamar right now, is you can't keep having superior teams and losing football games in the postseason. You can't keep being league MVP, and that's on some Aaron Rodgers type shit. You know how many times Aaron Rodgers was league MVP, one of the best teams in football, they get to the postseason and they lose. And you're like, yo, Aaron Rodgers, you know, if not for the one Super Bowl that he won, we'd be talking about his legacy in a totally different light. It's not that dissimilar. The only difference is Rodgers has one. Why didn't they run Henry today? They did. I just don't think they ran it enough. But we've seen that. Remember, we've seen that from Baltimore this season, where we thought they should have given it to Henry more, and they didn't. Now, I will also tell you that circumstances dictated that Henry didn't get the ball late in the game. Case in point, they fumbled on a possession. He would have gotten 4 or 5 more carries probably on that possession alone, if not for the fumble by Mark Andrews. That was right around midfield where he fumbled that football. So there was going to still be a heavy influence of Derrick Henry. At the end of the game, you take Derrick Henry off the field because now you're in a passing situation, because the Bills ate up a considerable amount of clock after that fumble was recovered and were able to get that field goal, but they ate up some clock and they shortened the game. And once the Ravens came back on the field, Justice Hill was on the field. So there were pockets of the game where he wasn't able to be involved because of the circumstances. But I thought the first 2-point conversion, he and Justice Hill basically got him down the field. I thought they should have just turned around and handed it off. The Bills had not shown the ability to stop him on that possession. But I digress. Thank you for the super chat, as always, Christopher McLaughlin, my guy, C-Mac. Avocado TV. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, that's actually a great question. The run game. How do you see that transpiring into next Sunday? Well, for starters, you got to be pleasantly surprised about the run game and very enthusiastic about what you saw from Washington, because the Lions were the 4th best run defense in football this year. So to run the ball as effectively on them as we did should make you feel really warm and fuzzy. And again, the Eagles have been giving it up on the ground here of late. Every team that they've faced, they've had success on the ground with their running backs. And, add Jaden into the equation, and I really think that there's an opportunity for us to hurt them on the ground and really balance our attack. When we can run the ball, as you saw against Detroit, we're unstoppable. It's when you can make us one-dimensional that you can have a chance to stop us, because now it's all on the shoulders and legs of Jaden Daniels. But when there's balance, man, you're going to have a tough time stopping us from going up and down the field. Tough time. Rocky D, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Rocky D writes, prayers to Sam Cosmi. Source says Ben Johnson is leaving the Lions. Oh, he's gone. It's no doubt about it. He's going to the Raiders. They already interviewed Lance Newmark, or at least put in for an interview with him. He's going to go there, be the GM. Ben, did you hear Tom Brady avoid talking about Ben Johnson? Because, Tom Brady's a part of the Raiders organization, and he knows what's happening behind the scenes. So he avoided talking about Ben Johnson, and his job search and all that, like the plague. You could tell he was trying to avoid it. He says, I wouldn't be surprised wherever he goes, he's trading for Sam Howell, if not the Bears. I don't think he's going to the Bears, because I think wherever he goes, he wants to have a GM that's in lockstep with him. And you don't get that in Jacksonville. You don't get that in Chicago. So I think because of that, he's going to want to go somewhere where he's going to have that kind of autonomy. And, with the Raiders situation, he's going to have to find a quarterback. Is that Sam Howell? Is it Kirk Cousins? Is it somebody else? Is it Sam Darnold? I don't know. But they're going to have to do something, obviously, because the guy, isn't on the roster right now at the quarterback position. So, we'll see. Jado, been a member for 15 months, who writes, I can't believe we're in the NFC Championship game. You don't believe? Believe, as a wise man likes to say. You don't believe? Believe. Yeah. I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised. My confidence level was through the roof at the end of the season because of how we ended the season. I said this when we finished Dallas off. Even in a game that felt meaningless, but knowing that, that it was the difference between going to Philadelphia and as you can see, we could have clearly gone to Philadelphia and won with the way we're playing right now. But it was the difference between going to Philadelphia, but more importantly, just going into the playoffs with momentum. Even Terry said we had to win that game. You had to win that game and keep the momentum going. We're the hottest team in football. And I told y'all, confidence is a dangerous thing. It's a scary thing because ain't nothing more dangerous than a team with ultimate confidence and belief, because nothing can shake them. It don't matter what situation we in, we think we gonna win. That's some scary shit. We could be down 10 like we were against the Eagles. We could be down 10 like we were down 13 to the Eagles, 27-14. We were down 10, 17-7 at halftime to the Falcons. We don't think we're gonna lose because we're not. Because we got 5 on it. It's different. It's just different. Lang Hughes, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Lang Hughes writes, stop Saquon at all costs. Make them beat Lat and Mike. Look, that's the goal. If you can't achieve that, and looking at Hurts and how he finished this game, his knee is banged up. He's in a little bit of trouble. He may not be the runner that he is accustomed to being due to that knee injury. So that's a big part of, that next game as well, is how mobile is Jalen Hurts. But no matter what the case is, the plan remains the same. It was the same plan in game 1. It was the same plan in game 2, and it's going to be the same plan in game 3. Make Jalen Hurts beat you as a passer. If you could do that, you exponentially enhance your chances of winning the game. If you allow Saquon Barkley to dominate the game, if you allow the Eagles to dominate the line of scrimmage, you're going to suffer the same fate that you suffered in the first game. And so I think the adjustments that we made the last time we played the Eagles, I think they fold over into this game. King of the North, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, Lou, we are in the championship. We going to the chip. 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 Says, what a season. What a QB. I almost cried last night, but I was around too many people. LOL. Well, you could let your real feelings show. You could have shed a tear. You had to hold it. Don't be holding tears back, man. Holding back the tears. Don't be holding back them tears. It's been a long 30 years, and man, has it ever. Man, has it ever. But we made it. We made it. We made it on the other side. And we ain't done yet. That's the beauty of this whole situation is, while a lot of y'all are still in awe of being like, look, I can't say y'all because that would be disingenuous on my part. Like, I didn't look at my wife this morning and say, babe, we going to the championship game. Like, I can't act like I wasn't in the kitchen jumping up and down like a 5-year-old on Christmas morning because I was doing that. So I can't act like I'm not still in awe, pinch me type of deal. But I'm also aware that the job is not finished. Job's not done. And just as excited as I am, I'm also as laser-like focused on the task at hand. Now the Philadelphia Eagles are the next team with a target on their back. And all I'm going to do is pick a spot, a secure location. I'm going to hand 5 his weaponry, and I'm going to let him be a cold-blooded assassin like he's been the entire season. Let him go to work. Christopher McLaughlin, my guy. C-Mac. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Who writes? Hey, Lou. 2 questions. 1, what are 3 things the Bills have to do to beat the Chiefs and why? 2, what is the biggest intangible or concern that you are worried about in the matchup against the Eagles and why? So with the Bills, 3 things they have to do. 1, they cannot give up big plays. Like the Chiefs, I see they're trying to hunt big plays because it's something that's eluded them all season long. And it doesn't always necessarily have to be the deep ball, which they almost completed one, and they haven't been hitting the deep ball for like 2-3 years now, it feels like. Ever since Tyreek Hill left, feels like the deep ball left in Kansas City. And teams started to take him away that last year he was there. And they really haven't had the return of the deep ball. They've tried Worthy, and he's been open. Mahomes has missed him. He finally drops a diamond to Hollywood Brown, and he can't corral it. Great play by the defender. Got to give the Texans credit. But they're trying to get to the deep ball. They're trying to get chunk plays because they really haven't done that. And whether it's a swing screen to Worthy or jet sweep to Worthy or a tunnel screen to Worthy or deep ball to Worthy or deep ball to Hollywood Brown or wheel route to Hollywood Brown, they're trying to be intentional about hitting a big play. They can't give up big plays because the Chiefs are struggling to manufacture offense by just moving the ball down the field. They're not an efficient offense right now. So you can't give up big plays. Obviously, the elephant in the room, you can't turn the ball over. Can't make mistakes. Can't have it. All right. Got to play a clean game. Just like you did today. Got to play a clean game. And then the last thing I would say is they're gonna have to have their receivers step up. That's a stingy Chiefs defense that rushed the quarterback. They can stop the run effectively enough, but they were getting gashed by Joe Mixon. But they can stop the run, and those receivers are gonna have to win. They're gonna have to find a way to manufacture some stuff. Where's Amari Cooper at? I get it, he got there late, and it's not the easiest to just jump in and have an impact, but did he even have a catch today? Like, they need him to step up. Somebody got to step up. It can't just be Khalil Shakir and a sprinkle of Mac Hollins and Curtis Samuel. Like, so, they got to get something out of the rookie. They got to get something out of Amari Cooper. They got to get something out of their receivers. And the most important thing I would say is, just like the last time when they played them and they beat them in the regular season, you got to finish drives with touchdowns. You got to score touchdowns because the Chiefs, they haven't scored more than 30 points all season long. You got to score points. Put it on the top shelf and make them chase because they haven't proven this season that they can. Biggest intangible or concern about the matchup against the Eagles is Saquon Barkley. It's not rocket science. It's the same thing we talk about every time we play the Eagles. If you can stop, he's the head of the snake. If you cut off the head of the snake, the body will die. If you limit Saquon Barkley's effectiveness, you will beat the Philadelphia Eagles. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. That is the single biggest X factor of the game. Can you limit Saquon Barkley's effectiveness? I have my doubts. But as we proved the last time, even with him getting off early, we were still able to win late. And again, that happened with 5 turnovers. We ain't turning the ball over 5 times again against Philadelphia. That ain't happening. Andy Hart, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Who writes, how do you think Redskins match up against the Chiefs? God forbid they three-peat. Hopefully Bills got their number. That would be a really interesting matchup. I mean, I really can't allow myself to focus that far down the line. We got the Eagles in front of us. So I'm more fixated on that matchup, to be honest with you, Andy. You get past the Eagles and whomever the opponent is, we'll have 2 weeks to dissect that team and talk about all of the matchups and things of that nature. But I'm more concerned with Philadelphia. But I'll just say this. Kansas City can't keep up with us scoreboard-wise. But that's a good defense over there. And Mahomes is a different animal. And defensively, They got a lot of speed on offense, especially at the receiver position. That scares me. But when it's all said and done, they have offensive line issues. They, don't run the ball all that well. Everything kind of plays into our favor against Kansas City. But again, I can't really have that conversation right now because I'm fixated on the Eagles, to be honest with you. Navy Ramjet, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Navy Ramjet, double up, who writes, Lil Lou was the real champion or the real champ last night. Yeah, he had a blast, man. Too much fun. You know, he's not used to being a part of Dad's work. He loves being on camera. So he was excited to see himself, and then he started doing dumb stuff. I was like, all right, man, you got to watch out because he want to start putting his hand in front of the camera and doing stupid stuff. He was excited, though. I was glad he was able to kind of be a part of that. But, yeah, he's a character, man. He's a character. He had a lot of fun, though. He had a lot of fun. King of the North, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. King of the North writes, Lou, this team reminds me of those Eli Giant teams that won the Super Bowl. Me and Bad Dog had a brief conversation about that. He said this reminds me of the 2011 Giants. Big difference is we have a superstar quarterback, right? But he's red hot like Eli got red hot in the postseason. Hugh, he says similarities are we came in hot and are getting better each week, plus the brotherhood in the locker room. And again, these are things you can't replicate. Like I talk about this in football all the time. It's unlike any other sport because in basketball and baseball, you got to win a series. In hockey, you got to win a series. You know, and generally speaking, the best team is going to win a series. You could get a team for 1 or 2 games, but you're not beating them 4 times before they beat you 4 times if they just better than you. But in football, you just got to be better than them that day. And right now, we're hot, and we don't think we can be stopped. And our confidence is through the roof. And it just don't matter who the opponent is. We see red. That's the bottom line is we are moving like stone cold killers right now. And we stuck on red. Anybody in our way is getting gunned down, and for lack of a better phrase, right? They getting mowed down. It right now, if you see us coming, get the hell out of the way. Get the hell out of the way. Because it ain't safe. 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 That's the type of time we on. They believe in each other. They believe in 5. And they don't think they can be beaten. And it's scary, man. We've seen this before. We've seen this before. Just not with our guys. I saw it with the Packers back in what was it, 09? I think it was 2010 when they got hot as a 6 seed. Saw it with the Giants in 07, the Giants in 2011. You catch a team hot, and they'll mow through the playoffs. Ethan Dykes, been a member for 5 months. My guy, writes, literally called that Kyron fumble right before. You did or I did? I know I did. Did you too? Or you saying I did? But I told you he was going to fumble. Literally, he carried the ball to end the 3rd quarter. And I said, Kyron is going to fumble in the 4th quarter. The Eagles are going to win this game because Kyron Williams is going to fumble the ball in the 4th quarter because that is what he does. And the conditions out there are ripe for him to put it on the carpet. The very first carry of the fourth quarter, this man fumbles the football. Unbelievable. Rocky D, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, when is the next Super Friends? This has to be done. It's going to be this week. You know, I tried to have one last week, but again, LB, he couldn't do it. So he should be available this week. I'll reach out to the fellas and we'll set a date for it. And obviously it's gonna be epic this week. You might get 2 out of us. Me and LB should do something one-on-one, but we might be able to handle everything at, during just a regular Super Friends stream. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I mean, this is epic, So we should be able to do it twice. Once with the whole group, and then another time with just me and him. Juan Gotti talking sports. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Juan writes, yo, LT, I'm more worried about Bond than 26. What about you? Zach Bond is cool, but I'm more worried about Jalen Carter than I am Zach Bond. Like, Zach Bond is he's playing his ass off this year. Who am I kidding? Like, he's been excellent. He was excellent in this game. He's all over the football field, but Jalen Carter is public enemy number 1 defensively. If you can't block him, you don't stand a chance. So he wrecked the first game. We kept him relatively quiet in the second, and really JD5 handled him the second game. He single-handedly sliced and diced Jalen Carter on several occasions in that game. And there's mutual respect between the two of them going back to their SEC days. So I know that Carter is the one you gotta keep tabs on at all times. There's no way that anybody is more important to the success of the Eagles right now than Saquon Barkley, which is why instead of letting him go after the record, they convinced him to sit out that final game. Because if anything happens to him, their chances of winning the Super Bowl go kaput. So there's no doubt in my mind that Saquon Barkley is and will forever be the biggest threat to us playing when we play the Philadelphia Eagles. Amario Delcit, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Amario writes, hey, Lou. Hope fam is well, my dude. Likewise. Just hope. Damn Philly. No, not the same team the last 2 games. Let LB know they better be ready. Oh, trust me. We got their attention loud and clear now. They thought we were some hoes. And I tried to tell them all the way back the first time we played them. Bitch, my mama ain't no hoe. Bitch, my daddy ain't no hoe. Bitch, my sister ain't no hoe. Why you trying to play me like a hoe? Told them the first time. We got their attention now. When you go to the number 1 seed house, knock on the door, they look at the peephole, and you kick the bitch in, they fall on the floor, you tell them to sit down on the couch. This is my house now. And you go in and ransack the place and do whatever the hell you want to do, and they don't do shit about it and put up 40 and they, trust me, you get everybody attention now. You got their attention. You got my attention. They listening now. They weren't listening before. They ass listening now. JB, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB who writes, Lou, who is taking Sam Cosmi's spot? I hope you don't say who I'm thinking. You already know. They showed you who was taking his spot. Trent Scott. And I haven't watched the game yet. Back again. I'm probably going to do that tonight. But my guess is because we didn't hear a peep out of any defensive lineman for Detroit. We didn't have any breakdowns in protection. We ran the ball very effectively. My guess is he did a really good job coming in and filling in for Sam Cosmi. At the end of the day, we got what we got. Like, what you want to do? There ain't nothing you can do but just roll with what you have at this point of the season. You got what you got. You got what you got. Juan Gotti talking sports. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Who writes? Win it for Cosmi, Lou. Extra motivation. Oh, yeah. And like I said, if you saw his IG post, it was heartfelt. And he told the fellas, win it for me. So I got no doubts that the rest of this season is for Sam. And that's that brotherhood in the locker room. They're going to band together, rally around Sam, and they're going to do it for Sam Cosmi. So, again, not that they needed any extra motivation other than just being, underdogs. We would, damn near 10-point underdogs and, people just doubting us and, well, you got a rookie quarterback. You can't be doing this with a rookie. That narrative got to be dead now. Like, you can't even look at Jaden Daniels like a rookie anymore. You just got to say, hey, look, we got to treat him like he an 8-year vet because he out here cooking fools like he been in here for 8 years. I mean, ask the Cowboys. He doing stuff that Dak Prescott who been in the league 8-9 years ain't done yet. So, yeah. This is extra motivation, as if we needed it. Ben Hanniger, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. LD Blues, thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, time for us to take care of family business in the chip. Why not us and why not now? All great questions. Great questions. Simply put, this is where champions are born, right here. These moments. Jaden's never lost to any team he seen for a second time. And I got no doubts that he'll be even better the third time he sees these boys. Now he gets a third look at them. Same with Cliff. Now he should be really comfortable with Vic Fangio's concepts and what they like to do. They were a lot more aggressive today against the Rams, man. They were blitzing. Vic don't blitz for real. They were aggressive today, coming after Stafford because he can't run. So they could get away with that. They're going to be careful when they come after 5. They saw what he did to him the last time. Juan Gotti talking sports. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, Juan, writes, let me find out 6 seed, the best seed to be in, LOL. I mean, a lot of teams don't win the chip as a 6 seed. I just mentioned, 2 of them, the Giants and the Packers. Like, it's not easy to do because you got to be road warriors and you pretty much got to go through the whole playoffs on the road. But if you about that life, you can make it happen. And we hot and we about that life. So, yeah, we'll see. Ethan Dykes, my guy. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate it. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, worried as F about Trent Scott versus Carter. But look, they're not going to leave him by himself the whole game. My guess is, if the Eagles are smart, they'll try to get him singled up. They'll make it so that Tyler Biadasz can't help him with that matchup. But guess what? He ain't going to be getting singled up, the entire game against Trent Scott. There'll be moments where Trent Scott going to have to block him one-on-one. But a lot of times, he's going to have help from Tyler Biadasz. A lot of times, he'll have help. Worst case scenario, you keep a back end just to get a piece if need be. Like, they know how to handle him. This is the third game. Like, he didn't have as big of an impact the second game as he did the first game. He had an impact now, don't get me wrong, but it wasn't like the first game where he absolutely wrecked us. They understand the challenges of Jalen Carter and what we have to do to try to contain him. Top Flight, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you, my guy. What up, Craig? Who writes, pop your stuff, Lou. You and my eldest son are riding high right now on that Commander. Salute on that Commander-ish. Salute. Yeah, man. We waited a long time for this, Craig. Like, hey, I know you want some of this. I know you want some of this. I thought your boy was more equipped to maybe do some of this. I was really disappointed how y'all went out. And I was looking for your feedback. Did you go to the game? Did you go to the game against the Texans? Because you weren't on the post-game show with the fellas. I was looking for your analysis because Jay Herbo, that wasn't the Jay Herbo I was expecting. And for the life of me, why didn't he run in that game? I'm still baffled as to why he didn't feel like his legs were necessary to be used. But Yeah, man. We got one of them ones over here, man. We got one of them ones over here. So it's things have changed, Craig. Things have changed significantly. Tell your son, we going to the chip. 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 Cause I got 5 on it. Avocado TV. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Who writes? Yeah, we literally hit Detroit with a home invasion. It was nasty. It was definitely a home invasion. It's tough when, you know, you knock on the door and you tell them it's just us and the guns, open up. Either we kicking it in or you could just let us in. But either way, we're coming in. So you decide. Right? It was almost like Coach Boyu talking to Coach Klein, right? He said, now, I'm going to have this here book. Now, we could do this the easy way, or we could do this the hard way. Now, I'd hate for this to turn physical. And he let that book go, right? Like, hey, we're doing this. Either you move out of the way or we trample over you. But this is getting done. Big Money Sonny, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. My guy Big Money Sonny writes, 5, Lou. I'm ready for some Newports. You already know. Let me get that 5 on it, Lou. I got 5 on it. You know what it is. Captain Obvious. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. My guy, CO. Last time we got to this game, the MJ album, Dangerous, was a hit album. That is what the Commanders are. Dangerous. Dangerous. We're so dangerous. Are the Eagles worried? I don't know if I would say worried, but they're on high alert. They understand that this is not the team they saw the last time. And they understand that, hey, they a buzzsaw right now. Like, we got to have our shit together. Big Money Sonny, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Big Money Sonny writes, y'all want a dookie or walnuts on them? What are we doing here, man? Come on. Yesterday was no pause Saturday. We gotta pause, man. What are we doing here? Huh? How y'all want your weak toppings on them cheesesteaks? Believe it or not, Lou, this is our time. Now, I will say they was cooking up some of them Philly cheesesteaks during the game, and they showed how they were made. And I showed my wife, I was like, you know, I'm a vegan. I can't eat that shit. But I was like, that shit looks good. They look authentic. They look like Philly cheesesteaks. not that steak-em bullshit that they be feeding us around here. Right? Wouldn't it be dope to go to Philly and get another 40 burger? I know that's highly unlikely because we knew we could score on Detroit's defense. But shit, I say that like we ain't just put up 36 on these hoes the last time we saw them. Anything's possible. Anything's possible. Lang Hughes, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Who writes, JD5, best QB performance this weekend by far. Yeah, without question. He's the only one to almost hit 300. He was at 299, so he basically hit 300 yards without turning the ball over and made every big throw. I don't think there was a better throw made this weekend than the one he made to De'Ami Brown. Go watch that play again. He's fading back against pressure as he just lofts that ball in the air, and that shit drops out of the sky like a damn teardrop. You know, felt like I was listening to Jackie Wilson, Lonely Teardrops. Like, that shit just like, boom, boop. I was like, man, now that almost brought a tear to my eye. Y'all been talking about crying because we won. That pass almost brought a teardrop to my eye. Damn, that shit was beautiful. Sean Blake, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Sean writes, Lucas, Gretty, Badass, Wiley, Coleman would be optimal. You can't just ask Brandon Coleman to learn a new position this late in the season. That's unfair to him, and that's not ideal this time of the year. He doesn't work at guard. He hasn't worked at guard since training camp. So you can't ask him to do that. Now, you know, if you got into a game and it necessitated that, then maybe he would be thrusted into that. He would have to do it, but you can't ask him to do that. He's been playing left tackle this entire time. They're not going to move him from left tackle, nor should they. Trent Scott has worked at guard and he's worked at tackle, so he can kick inside and do an admirable job, bang up job, and get the job done. And that's what we got to hope. That's what we got to hope. Joshua Farish, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, do you see Lance Newmark leaving the organization as a major impact? Yeah, I do. But this is why you surround yourself with great talent, because eventually guys are going to, if you're successful, people will be plucked from your organization, right? Coaches, upper management, staff, etc. If you're successful, which we are this year, they're coming. People are coming for your stuff. Joe Witt Jr. just completed an interview with the New York Jets. I don't know if y'all was checking social media, but the Jets put out on their social media, we have finished conducting our interview with Joe Witt Jr. Like, he ain't getting that job, but he just had a 5-turnover game. And this defense is not super talented. And here we are. People take notice. Like, the only thing saving us this year, I think, from having our staff ravaged is we keep winning. And the longer we keep winning, the less time teams have to interview our coaches, the more likely it is they'll move in a different direction. I just want one more year. Then after that, y'all can do whatever y'all want to do. Just give me one more year. So I think Lance Newmark is going to be gone, but they've hired so many guys and brought them into the organization, like Chase Blackburn, who they really think is a high IQ football guy in terms of identifying talent. And, you know, whether you move him up in the ranks or you go out, and Adam Peters has been a lot of places, met a lot of people. He knows who the next up and coming, you know, talent evaluator is. He can go pluck another good guy if he needs to, or he can promote from within. We'll be fine. But I appreciate Lance doing what he did in his 1 year here. He will be missed, but he about to go spread his wings and fly away. I'm happy for him. Sean Blake, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Sean writes, you think Ben Johnson regret double up, to give it doubling up. Sean writes, you think Ben Johnson regrets not coming here? Maybe. I can't say for sure. Like, I don't think he regrets, you know, going back to Detroit, but seeing what Jaden Daniels turned into, he probably was like, damn, maybe I did mess up an opportunity there. But what's done is done. You know, you can't cry over spilt milk. He made the decision. It is what it is. I'm glad he didn't come here, because while Jaden Daniels might have been successful, we wouldn't have been successful as a team. So, and you don't get Bobby Wagner, and you're not getting all of the coaches. Cliff Kingsbury isn't here, obviously, because he's calling the plays. So what we have now, we don't have if Ben Johnson was here. So it's easy to say, man, if I would have gone there, look what it could have been. But he would not have changed the culture here. He would not have changed the culture here. So I don't know if he regrets it or not. I'm sure glad he didn't come here. And I think most of you are as well. JB, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Who writes? Didn't the Steelers do that in 05? I believe so. I think they went on the road. I think their most impressive win that year was they went on the road and beat Indy. That was the game where Jerome Bettis fumbled. The ball went in the air. The Colts caught it, and I think Ben Roethlisberger had to make like a shoestring tackle on one of the DBs to save him from running for a touchdown. That would have lost them the game, and it was pretty dramatic. But I think they went on the road. If I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong, but I think they went on the road 3 games that year en route to going to the Super Bowl and beating Seattle. Again, that was a young Ben Roethlisberger. I could be wrong about that, though. I ain't sure if they won it that year or not. I think they did win it that year. Redskins for life. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, what an amazing weekend. So much to be proud of, and we ain't finished yet. I hope you give LB a piece for all of us on the Super Friends show this week. Raise hell. You already know. I'm going to set the tone. But it's a lot at stake. A lot of bragging rights. You know, not just an opportunity for the right to go to the Super Bowl, but it's who you beating to do it. Somebody's season is over. Somebody's going to be hurt on Sunday next week at 6:05. Somebody's going to be hurt. A fan base is going to be hurt. And somebody else is going to be pure jubilation, euphoria. You already know what it is. You know I'm going to hold you down. I always do. The Great Watubi. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Who writes, LB on his stream said, we're here by luck. Don't worry. We'll get that rectified very quickly. If that's his mindset, I'll straighten him up quick. Straight away. Don't worry. All right. If that's his mindset, we'll change that pretty quick. They're here by luck more so than we are. But that's no here nor there, right? That's no here nor there. Top Flight. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Who writes? Yeah, man. Sadly, I was at the game. I thought so. I was like, there's only one reason Craig's not in attendance, breaking down this, pathetic performance by his squad. Because he was there at the game. And that was the exact question I asked. Herbert didn't scramble once, and Roman didn't call a single design QB run. I was flabbergasted at why he didn't use his legs. When he's at his best, the mobile aspect is a part of his game. To me, that's any quarterback in the league that has wheels. Like even C.J. Stroud. Part of the reason they won that game is because C.J. Stroud used his legs. When he doesn't use his legs, he's less effective. He was a lot more effective against Kansas City yesterday because he used his legs. When he uses his legs, he's a threat. Same thing with Justin Herbert. He refused to run. It's almost like he was injured or he was like, nah, I got to stay in the pocket and prove something. Like, what are we doing right now, bro? Get out of there, right? Like this Texans defense is peeling on you. Get out of there and hurt them with your legs, and maybe you'll stunt their rush. Maybe they'll be a little bit more hesitant to get up the field and try to get to you, but he just refused to run. And like you said, Roman didn't try to call off the dogs by, using him as a threat. I was befuddled. Like, what we doing, Justin? Like, bro, you are athletic. Last time I checked. So why are we acting like Jared Goff? Like we can't run and leave the pocket. I'm not understanding what we're doing right now, but I'm glad we was on the same page. So I'm sorry you had to watch that in person. Sorry you had to watch that in person. Robert Gamble Jr., thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, Louie, to those birds about to pluck the feathers off of them. I already told you what's for dinner next week. Get your utensils ready. Tuck your napkin in your shirt nice and neat. We eating bird for dinner next week. How you like it? You want it rotisserie? You want it fried hard, crispy? You like it baked, grilled? However you like it. That's how we gonna serve it up. How do you like it? 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 How do you like your bird? That's how we gonna serve it up. Swaggy P, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. My guy Swaggy P writes, Eagles fans been talking for weeks about us while we minding our business. I told you, but we all know we got a huge slab of real estate in all of their brains. Even when they did a hype video for the game with Brian Dawkins, and Brian Dawkins was talking about us. I'm like, you playing the Rams and you talking about us being the new belle of the, like, even he can't get us out of his damn head. I love it, man. I love when a plan comes together. We effing the game all up. Nobody's okay with our success, and I love it. Cowboys fans crashing out because we done something they weren't able to do. Giants fans are envious. They green with envy, boy. They're like, damn, that could have been us. We could have had Jaden Daniels. And then, to make matters worse, they effed up the quarterback situation this year by beating the Colts. So they probably ain't getting one because the Texans or the Browns are drafting a quarterback and the Titans are drafting a quarterback, right? So they over there sick right now. And then the Eagles, they just jealous. They just jealous. Like, deep down, even if they don't want to admit it. And they some people are too stubborn to say it out loud, but in their deepest, most private moments, they're like, shit, he's really good. They may not want to say it out loud. They're like, damn, not only is he really good, he better than our guy. They'll never say it out loud. And that's okay. But as long as you know deep down inside, that's all that matters. That's all I care about. Yeah, we just minding our business over here, winning 7 in a row. That's it. And they talking about us. They got a whole game to win to try to get to the championship game so they can play us, and they talking about us. What? How are we on your intro to the game? I love it, though. I love it. They got what they asked for. JD5 going to remind them again who runs this ish. It's a damn shame when you get what you asked for and what you get ain't what you thought you was going to get. Right? They in trouble. They in trouble. I'm not sure if they know it or not, but they finna find out. Joshua Farish, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Who writes? Oh, if we win against the Eagles, I'll donate $200. Get your $200 ready. I'll be here. Go ahead and get it ready. Amario Delcet, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Amario. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Who writes? Lou, JD5 is special, bro. Yeah. I think we figured that out after week 3 against Cincinnati. But yeah, he's pretty special. That's why we're here, right? No other reason. That's why we're here. We getting more happiness than we expected this season, my guy. HTTR. Is this just the beginning? AP be cooking and DQ be serving. Feels like the beginning of something special. You can never tell in the NFL, though. You can never tell, but this dude is so humble. There's just no way there's no way that stardom, superstardom, and a bunch of winning. Like I said this yesterday over and over again. Kobe, Jordan, Jaden. He's a cold-blooded assassin. But yet he's praying with Terrion Arnold when Amik Robertson gets injured. He's over there praying with him. Like, how can you not like this guy? Critical moment of the game, and he's smiling, talking to the defense right before he cuts their heart out and hands it to him. He's cut from a different cloth, man. Like, again, only a cold-blooded assassin can laugh in your face as he's about to kill you. It takes a different type of animal, cold-blooded killer to do that. That's some Kobe Jordan shit. Kobe Jordan would go play poker with you and spades with you and gamble with you and play golf with you the day before or the night before he was about to go and fillet your whole squad. It's some cold-blooded shit. Kobe would, like Jordan, would make up reasons. Oh, you don't got my shoes on? You wearing Jordans? Oh, yeah, I'm finna drop 40 on you. Kobe will come over there, laugh with you, and then put 61 on your head. Cold-blooded assassin. That's what Jaden is. Killer. Look into my eyes. Tell me what you see. G Dead Fan 88. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB who writes, We going to the chip. We going to the chip. We going to the chip. He says, Cowboy content creators were literally crying because we took all of their coaches, players, and won. They crashing out, bro. I didn't realize how bad it was for them. I had to retweet what Adam Schefter put out there. They're the only team on the NFC side of the bracket to not have gone to a conference championship since the last time they went in '96. They are so pathetic. And the beauty is they are what we were just because they can't win until Jerry's out of the picture. And Jerry and Steven and that family will never be out of the picture. They don't stand a chance. They'll be dysfunctional as long as the name Jones runs that team. They'll never be successful. It's a beautiful thing. I love it. Swaggy P, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up and rights. Saw a stat somewhere. Road teams in this year's playoffs are 2-8. That's accurate. I wonder who those 2 wins came from. It's a good question. Let's see. Let's see if we can figure it out. So, wild card week, all home teams won except Tampa. Who Tampa play in wild card weekend? Oh, that's right. They played the Commanders. Yeah, okay. So that were the one team to win in wild card weekend. So then you go to the divisional round and all the home teams won in the divisional round except Detroit. Who'd they play? Who'd Detroit play? Oh, damn. That's right. They played the Commanders. That's right. Yeah. We got the only 2 road wins. It's been chalk everywhere else. It's been chalk. Home teams have dominated except when it comes to us. Hashtag raise hell. Indeed. Joshua Ferris, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Joshua writes, did you see Micah and Dez going back and forth on social media? Yeah. I didn't see it. My wife brought it to my attention. And a couple of Commanders fans brought it to my attention too. I didn't know about it. And then my wife was telling me about the back and forth dialogue between the two of them. Again, I love cowboy on cowboy violence. Again, all this is started because of us. The whole conversation started because of the culture that Dan Quinn has set in Washington. And Michael was talking about, Dez was talking about, they got to set a culture in Dallas and yeah, and then the two started going back and forth, and I love it. 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 I do. JB, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. JB writes, Lou, that QB is going to have to throw Sunday. That's the hope. We got to make him throw. If they're running it effectively, they won't throw it. So we got to make them throw it. We got to make him throw it. Rocky D, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Rocky D writes, we on that you're old, you're going home though type of time, laughing my ass off. Look, at this point, I don't see us losing another game this season. And as confident as the Eagles may be, there's levels to this shit, as I always like to tell y'all. It's levels. And we on a new level. We on a new level. Again, be careful what you wish for. You just might get it. They've been asking for us by name. Shit could get real dark and spooky quick on them. But they'll find out. They'll find out. Abel Ambrosio, my guy, Double A, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Writes, Texans throwing shade at refs. Look, that Mahomes, like, it's already a narrative out there that Mahomes be getting the benefit of the whistle and the officials be looking out for him. He be getting LeBron James calls and shit. That felt blatantly obvious that, y'all wilding. The ball was poorly spotted in that game. You had two bad calls that benefited Mahomes and the Chiefs that were blatantly obvious that those were the wrong calls. Like, they got to fix that. I mean, we had one that went against us that they called a face mask that wasn't, and they would have had to punt or at least go for it on fourth down. And where they were on the field, they weren't going for it on fourth down. They were going to punt that football. And they ended up scoring a touchdown on that drive. But I told y'all, I said, the football gods will right that wrong. Don't worry. Boy, did they ever. Pick six. So again, I ain't tripping. I ain't complaining. Because it always balances itself out, Usually. So anyway, I digress. Captain Obvious, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. My guy, CO. Right. We did it to the Lions, and we ain't done. Not by a long shot. We still got work to do. We got work to do. We got to work. We got a job, baby. Yeah. We got work to do. We just getting started. Anyway. J.2626. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. J.2626. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Writes, we are going to win the chip. If we pull it off, we will be playing with house money, Lou. For Jaden career, LOL, in my opinion. if we win the Super Bowl in his rookie season, sky's the limit, right? Like, you can't go any further up than that. Now I was just trying to maintain. Now, I told you, the expectations are going to be through the roof next year anyway. But you win the Super Bowl, I mean, the expectations are, okay, win it again. And then you all of a sudden, you got a target on your back. You know, we didn't win the division last year, but everybody will be kind of measuring us up, and we'll have to, and this is, again, why I want to run it back next year. Just give me a chance to defend what we just did, right? If we win the Super Bowl, I want to run it back, and I want to have a chance to defend what we did. And then after that, whatever happens, you can go do whatever you want to do at that point. We already playing with house money. Ain't that right, Derek B? Joshua Ferris, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Joshua Ferris writes, Quinn is undefeated in championship games. Oh, really? He's only played in one, right? Or coached in one. Well, he was with Seattle, right? Was he with Seattle when they won? I think he was with them when they won. That's my guess. So, what is he, 2-0 in championship games? That would be my guess. Either that or 1-0. But my guess is he's 2-0. And if that's the case, let's make it 3. Let's make it 3. Jack Kennedy, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, Jack, thank you for the support. Greatly appreciate you. So, that video channel. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, Lou, when you and Squire Brunson going live? Don't know yet. I got to reach out to him and probably do that at some point tomorrow. Reach out to him, and I wanted to let him enjoy his victory, so I wasn't going to rain on his parade and hit him up, but give him a chance to kind of take it all in, and then I'll hit him up, and we'll kind of figure out what's what. Try to set up a time and a date for everything to go down this week. Captain Obvious, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy CEO writes, the Eagles are on a win streak. Let's break it. They haven't lost since we beat them, right? Well, then that technically, yeah, that's a streak, right? We beat them in week 16. They won in week 17 to clinch the division against Dallas. They beat the Giants in the final week of the season, beat the Packers in the wild card weekend, and so they've won 4 in a row. Yeah, that's a streak. Streaks are meant to be broken, and there's nobody in the business better than us at being streak breakers. So bring it on. Looking forward to it. Rocky D, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Rocky D writes, sources Mike Vrabel has eyes on A.J. Brown. I mean, we heard that, but what does that mean? He could want A.J. Brown. If the Eagles aren't interested in trading him, that's dead. That's that, right? So, again, all of that is irrelevant. Mike Vrabel could want a lot of things. The Bears wanted Mike Tomlin. Guess what the Steelers said? We're not trading him. Don't call us again, right? So, really not a big deal because they don't control anything. Sam Martin, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Sam writes, where is JD in franchise history in your lifetime if he wins a chip this year? Oh, he's going to be the best quarterback in franchise history within 3 years. He, right now, again, I can't talk about slinging Sammy Ball and Sonny Jurgensen, and I never watched those dudes. You know what I'm saying? I watched Joe Theismann. I didn't see him play, but I've gone back and watched games in which Joe Theismann has played. I know he won league MVP. But I mean, if we're talking in the modern Super Bowl era, Joe Theismann is the greatest quarterback in franchise history. But he had, I don't want to say an abbreviated career, but he didn't reach the apex of his career because it got cut short. So I think he was on the team for 11 years though. But how many of them years was he the starting quarterback? Because I think he came in at 74 and then his career was ended in 85. So all I can tell you is you win a Super Bowl. Nobody in our franchise history has won more than one Super Bowl. Theismann won one, went to two. Doug Williams won one. Mark Rippon won one. That's it. That's the list, right? I think Kilmer went to one when we lost to the Dolphins. But ain't nobody won but one Super Bowl. You know, Joe Gibbs won a Super Bowl with 3 Super Bowls with 3 different quarterbacks. So if he wins one, he's right there in the annals of, Redskins / Commanders lore, tied with the best we have to offer from a Super Bowl standpoint. And he's just beginning. So again, he's already turned in the greatest rookie season we've ever seen in NFL history. That's without the Super Bowl. You add a Super Bowl to it, how does he not skyrocket all the way to the top of the list? I mean, I get it. It's just 1 year, but it's one of the greatest 1 years we've ever seen from a rookie ever. Just a quarterback. Forget about rookie. Remove rookie from, the conversation. Just one of the greatest quarterbacking seasons we've seen. Then you throw rookie in there, and it's like it takes it to another level because he's not supposed to be doing what he's doing at the level he's doing it as a rookie. You know what I mean? So, yeah, he's pretty much damn near at the top if he wins the Super Bowl. JB, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes? I'm questioning his arm, Lou. Let's get it. Well, you won't be the first person to question his arm. He can throw the football. We just got to make him I feel like we got to treat him like Jared Goff. In the sense that we got to make him throw the football and be accurate, and we got to get him off of his spot. And I don't think his mobility is going to be the same as it always is. I think he's a little banged up. And he can be sacked. He was sacked 7 times today. 7 times. I thought we handled him really well in the first game. You saw what the plan was in the second game. We were going to be aggressive. He took off running on us. But I think we can bottle him up. We know him. Quinn and company know him. They've played against him a lot of times. They know how to bottle up Jalen Hurts. That's not an issue. We got to stop Saquon Barkley. We got to stop Saquon Barkley. JB, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes? Lou, Joe T became the starter in 78. So he was a starter for 7 years, roughly. Came in at 74. I think he was returning punts and stuff when he first came in the league. I remember him telling stories about how, the veteran quarterbacks, Sonny and company, they ain't like him, right? The young kid. So he got the opportunity in 78. If, according to you, I can't confirm nor deny that. I take your word for it. So he's only a starter for 7 years before the knee injury. So he had a lot more football left in him before it was cut short. So Jaden win in his first year. I don't know how you don't put him damn near at the top of the list. Anyway, I digress. So it's set. NFC Championship, Commanders, 6 seed at the 2-seeded Philadelphia Eagles, all NFC East and NFC Championship game. Meanwhile, in the AFC, it's a familiar game. Foes that have seen each other multiple times in the postseason. The 2-seeded Buffalo Bills taking on the 1-seeded Kansas City Chiefs for the right to go to New Orleans and play in Super Bowl 59. Bills hold off the Ravens 27-25. Late stop on a 2-point conversion that was dropped by tight end Mark Andrews. Bills then secure the onside kick and get a first down and run the clock out. Allen and company hold on. 3 Ravens turnovers and 2 missed 2-point conversions were really the difference in the game. Really the difference in the game. Bills are moving on. Ravens are going home. Lamar Jackson yet again comes up short in the postseason. First game of the day, Eagles get the win 28-22 over the Los Angeles Rams. Same thing kind of applies here. Rams with 2 devastating turnovers in this game, 2 fumbles that led directly to 2 Eagles field goals. That's the difference in the game, 6 points. Saquon Barkley was a man amongst boys yet again. 205 rushing yards for Saquon Barkley in this game. Jalen Hurts also added 70 yards on the ground, including a long touchdown run to kick off the scoring in the game. Eagles hold up late defensively, get a critical stop to preserve the victory, and move on to championship weekend or Sunday, where they'll take on the Commanders and host the NFC Championship game at home. Matthew Stafford said after the game, he will mull over his decisions and figure out what his future looks like. He's gonna play. He's not hanging it up. But you know, when you lose a game like that, where you felt like you left it all out there and you thought you had a chance, and you're that close again to getting to the Super Bowl, it stings. But you always got to give guys an opportunity to step away, cool off, get some time away. Then you talk to them, and usually cooler heads prevail. Matthew Stafford still got football left in him. He's not going anywhere. He'll be back next year. That's my guess. But we will see. Martin Matthews, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Martin Matthews writes, "Hey, Louie, please help me understand this. I only saw a little of the game, but how can you have a 250-yard runner and still barely win?" Well, I mean, there are a lot of reasons as to why that can take place. I mean, one, Saquon Barkley doesn't play defense. You could run for 400 yards in a game and still lose because you could have, an 82-yard run down to the 6-yard line and not get in the end zone, right? You could fumble on the next snap. I mean, it's football. Shit happens. Here's all you need to know. The Eagles were 0 of 2 in the red zone, and the Rams, I think, were 2 of 5. That's how the game's close. Eagles didn't convert in the red zone, had to settle for field goals. The Rams scored touchdowns. Didn't score enough of them, obviously, but the Eagles didn't score touchdowns in the red zone. And that's why this game was close. So there you have it. GT7, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. GT7 writes, "Hey, Louie. What's up, GT? The air is a bit fresher. The sun is a bit brighter. Lattimore looked like he got his sea legs back. What says you?" Yeah, I told you he would, but also you got to remember the Lions don't have a dog out there to really test him either. So the Eagles came after him pretty aggressively the last time. I would assume that they'll do it again in this game. But he'll be ready for the challenge. I'm looking forward to it. Looking forward to it. Looking forward to it. So let me get a quick shout out to BetUS for sponsoring this stream. They've also got a casino now that you can check out. So again, head over to betus.com. Use the promo code YouTube150 to get you a 150% sign-up bonus on your first deposit up to $2,000 and 125% sign-up bonus on your next 2 deposits up to $2,000 when you use the promo code YouTube150. So that's going to do it for me, your man Louie T, here on this installment of Divisional Round Overtime. Eagles get the win, punch their ticket to the championship game where they'll host against the Commanders. Meanwhile, the Buffalo Bills get the win over the Ravens, send Lamar Jackson home, and advance to championship weekend where the Chiefs await them. And so we'll have those 2 games next week, and we'll break both of them down next week. I'll probably be live during the AFC Championship game because I'll be live for the post game of the Commanders game. But no matter what, we'll chop it up and we'll break those things down next week. So DJ23, take us home. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, Baker should be happy he's going to the Pro Bowl. Hey, Eagles got a number of Pro Bowl guys. We'll make sure that they have an opportunity to do that as well, right? We'll make sure they got an opportunity to do that as well. So that's going to do it for me, your man Louie T. Until next time, you guys have a good one. Take care. God bless. And we going to the chip. We going to the chip. We going to the chip. We going to the chip.